Indeed, it is a pleasure to welcome you all to today's Nonviolence Youth Summit Part 5 presented by the Arkansas Martin Luther King Jr. Commission. Let's give them a hand for a wonderful job.
Hi, this is DuShun Scarbrough, Executive Director of the Arkansas Martin Luther King Jr. Commission. Today is an exciting day. We are here in Hope, Arkansas for our Nonviolence Youth Summit Part 5, where we have kids coming from all over the state of Arkansas, from Little Rock School District to many other school districts throughout the state. Coming right here. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted. Every hill and mountain shall be made low, the rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. I have a dream today.
Good cholesterol versus bad, Woody Page.
It all rides on the lipoproteins. The higher the HDL, the lower the risk of heart disease.
I mean, this is a guy who shed 30 pounds in 2 months. He tackled his sleep apnea, too.
High blood pressure's weak. 150 over 95? Bench the salt.
The pass down low? Now that's a clean colon.
If only you followed your health the way you follow sports. For a complete list of the tests you need and when you need them, go to ahrq.gov/realman.
Takeout meals for just $12.99. Call it.
Sherry Pearson. You are the sole surviving heir of the King of Montonopolis, and you are now worth $45 million.
I'm rich. This can't be real.
Of course it's not real. Come on. Having money isn't about luck. Like that takeout meal. Cook at home instead, you can save thousands a year. Feed me.
Feed the pig.
I got no pulse. We're losing him.
Shocking. Guys that run all the time. Just had a few drinks. This can't be happening.
Are we clear?
Clear.
We're just buzzed.
Just buzzed? You didn't tell us that, sir. You're right. This isn't happening. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I feel good.
Really?
No, not really.
Buzz driving. Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal.
Shocking.
America is essentially a dream.
It's finally here. It's finally here. America's a dream.
We shall overcome.
Be part of unity. Be part of diversity.
How long will justice be crucified?
Live the dream. Make change happen. Purchase your Martin Luther King Jr. Commission tag today. Support the dream.
Truth bear it. How long?
Change has come to America.
Oh, say, can you say by the dawn early light?
Welcome back. You know, it's interesting. We have had nonviolence youth summits from all over the state of Arkansas, beginning in West Memphis, Arkansas, to Pine Bluff, all the way to Fayetteville, Arkansas. We then brought Part 4 to Little Rock, Arkansas at the state capitol. You know, and we wanted to do something different by thinking outside of the box. And we thought to bring forth Hope, Arkansas to pretty much take over the area of Texarkana and Hope.
We do want you to take full advantage of the opportunities that you're going to have today in the Nonviolence Youth Summit. It is an unbelievable experience for you, and it's an unbelievable time that you can share with those individuals that you come in contact with when you go back home.
We are here today to recognize and acknowledge the dream of Dr. Martin Luther King. Because of Dr. Martin Luther King, I was free. We are free to live out whatever dream of choice that you guys want, and that's a good thing about America, God thanks. I'm here in living proof, all right, to prove that a dream is not only a dream and a dream that is deferred, but a dream is a goal that you must have a vision and truly believe in.
Let us not wallow in the valley of despair. I say to you, today, my friends, that in spite of the difficulties and frustrations of the moment, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out its true meaning of creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal.
Freedom, freedom, let it ring.
Freedom, freedom, let it ring.
Let it ring, says Dr. King.
Let it ring, says Dr. King.
Let us live in harmony.
Let us live in harmony.
Peace and love for you and me.
Peace and love for you and me.
I know some of you students, today was a holiday of school, especially if you're from the Hope School District, and we appreciate you having your priorities in order and being here today. Being a mayor in a small community, you get to wear many hats, and I see both sides of maybe, I guess you could say, of youth. I see being on a board that has a contract with the Department of Human Services and Deputy Director Jones. We see some of the problems that some youth may be experiencing today. But then I get to see the good side, which is being a part of this organization out here and seeing you fulfill your educational dreams and take an active role in our society. So I hope you will be very attuned to what you hear today, and not only take it back, but take it back to your communities and your homes, and let's preach of what we've heard. I was a child of the 60s and grew up listening and hearing Dr. King. His precepts are still as valuable today as they were back in the 60s.
We take care of a lot of people in our state, and a lot of people need help. During these tough economic times, a lot of people need help. That's why it's important for us to come up with program and design programming that will reach you where you are, to help you to be better in life and to do better so that you will never need the services of your Department of Human Services. But I'm here to tell you today that should you come to a point that you need it, or some member of your family or friend need it, that's why the Department of Human Services is there. For those of you who may not know, our Division of Youth Services through the Department of Human Services work with young people who have been adjudicated through the courts, find themselves in trouble, and have to deal with one of my good friends here on the front row, and the courts put them in our care or in our custody. The driving reason for us putting resources in this, if we can help save one child, gentlemen, if we can help save one child and make one child make a difference and make a better choice, then it has been worth the investment here. But I know that we're doing a whole lot better than that because we get positive feedback from these summits each and every time. And we have now communities asking us to bring the summits to those communities.
Did you know 45% of kids have been threatened online? 52% of kids have been bullied while online. 58% of kids admit someone has said mean or hurtful things to them while they're online. 53% of kids admit having said something mean or hurtful to another person online. If you've done some of these things, you could be a cyberbully.
So all these organizations were founded in order to give you an opportunity to vote, give you an opportunity to go to school, give you an opportunity to go into what profession that you wanted to go into. And so it's so important for you to take that opportunity right now, because your first step, how can you do something common in an uncommon way? The first step that you're trying to do, everybody's not going to go to college. But the ones of you who do, that's the first step. But right now, everybody is needing to try to get this high school diploma that you have the opportunity to get right now, right?
I found Charlie lying in a pool of blood. When I cradled him in my arms, he was limp. The bullet had blown off the back of his skull. Charlie died at the hospital. The doctor said he didn't feel a thing. Charlie was 5.5 years old. He was my son.
And that's the reason that I really had to leave my job, because I couldn't deal with mothers like that. It was a very difficult time. And sadly to say, the violence seems to be coming back, and we seem to see more kids joining groups like this. But remember, for everything that you do, there's a reaction.
I think it's really sad what's happening in many of our communities with so much violence. And maybe if we can start with this generation and hopefully put an end to that, give them direction.
We brought together
people from all sorts of different backgrounds and different beliefs, different parts of the community, and we're working together to teach respect and unity and the ability to achieve your dream at no matter where you're from and what your personal situation is.
My life was always at home, you know, one thing about school. Well, I went to high school, I did graduate from high school, but I didn't take it seriously. But now I'm at high school, in college at USCCH, I know what I want to be and I know what I want to do.
One of the things that a college always strives to do is not only teach students in the classroom, but give students the skills to be effective in society, to know how to get along with folks who may not be necessarily the same as they are. We want students to be able to have open minds about ideas that are different from theirs, so that they leave the educational institution with an understanding that we all have to coexist, we all have to get along, and part of what we do in a college is try to teach that, the ability to have others' views recognized and appreciated. The Martin Luther King Commission exemplifies that, because that's what it's all about. That's what Dr. King's mission was all about. And we think that in the higher education institution, that's a very, very critical part of what we do, is to teach diversity, teach tolerance, teach understanding about others and how to get along.
I present to you Algebra 2, Foreign Languages, and finally Biology. Who among you will step up to their challenge?
Me.
Yeah, I'll do it. Me too. Sign me up.
Take on the tough classes now. You need them to prepare for college.
America is essentially a dream.
It's finally here. It's finally here. America's a dream.
We shall overcome.
Be part of unity. Be part of diversity.
How long will justice be crucified?
Live the dream. Make change happen. Purchase your Martin Luther King Jr. Commission tag today. Support the dream.
Truth bear it. How long?
Change has come to America.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent, because kids in foster care don't need perfection. They need you.
I'm starving. What's for breakfast?
Guten Tag!
Johannes, Franz!
I bring you arts-enriched Raisinblums, fortified with increased test scores and creative problem-solving skills.
It's good!
And good for you.
Bobby? Susie?
Don't worry, that's just the power of the arts!
Feed your kids the arts. For 10 simple ways to learn how, visit AmericansForTheArts.org.
I'm David Johnson. Normally I call myself David DJ Johnson. I'm from Hope here. I'm also the Vice Mayor of Hope, and also I serve as a State Commissioner of Rural Development Grants, appointed by Governor Mike Beebe. And why am I here today? I'm here today because I've always believed in Dr. King. And when you talk about nonviolence, and I'm all about nonviolence. If you can work things out without violence, I think that's what you should do. And that's what Dr. King would want us to do.
My name is Kevin Hunt. I'm from Little Rock, Arkansas. I work in the office of Governor Mike Beebe. And the reason why I'm here is to support DuShun, Scarbrough, and the Martin Luther King Commission. I believe in nonviolence, and I think nonviolence should be preached throughout the state of Arkansas. And what Martin Luther King Commission and DuShun Scarbrough is doing is one of the most important things to do, as Martin Luther King would say, to talk about nonviolence, to share it with people, to put it in their thoughts and in their minds so they can live it out, particularly on the everyday.
You know, bringing a committee together, we brought the vice chancellor and the chancellor of the school here, the community college, and they thought of an outstanding speaker, one who has been here many times and who have brightened the lives of many of the students right here in the area. And his name is Professor Joe Martin. We gave him a call and he accepted to come down, and boy, we are excited to welcome him to the Hope, Arkansas area and looking forward to his dynamic speech.
I think it's important for me to be here because my journey, my story. I won't bore you with all the details of my story, but I grew up in a really rough environment in Miami in a project in Liberty City, and had to survive a lot of the same things that kids are being challenged with today. But if it wasn't for a faithful few people who stepped into my life, who had nothing to do with color, who impacted my life, I would not be standing here today and be speaking to you today. And so I believe that it's not only an opportunity for me to speak to them, I think it's also my obligation and responsibility to speak to them. I'm not trying to be ungrateful, but I bless and I help a lot of people. A lot of people come to me when they need answers, need help, but God, I don't understand. How come I don't have somebody that I can look up to? How come I don't have a father figure? My dad left when I was 2, didn't come back until I was 18, and then when he came back, I didn't even like him. I said, I'm being a father to everybody else's kid, but I have no father figure of my own. I said, don't you want somebody to give me guidance, to show me the ropes? Why won't you send somebody to me that I can look up to, that I can trust, instead of people who've been betraying me all my life? And guys, I used to get mad at God because I didn't meet those people. Then one day I was speaking in Miami, because I live in Tallahassee now. And I was speaking at this university, and I was speaking to these students. And this kid came up to me, this white kid came up to me, and he wanted to buy one of my books. He said, Dr. Martin, could you sign my book for me? I said, sure. I said, what's your name? He said, my name is Micah. I said, oh, like in the Bible? He said, yeah, but he said, I don't want you signing the book for me. I said, well, who do you want me to sign the book for? He said, I want you to sign it to my dad. Now, that may not mean anything to you guys. I probably sold over 50,000 copies of books. Listen to what I tell you. Not one person has ever told me to sign one to their dad. You hear me? Not one. Are you hearing what I'm saying? To their mama, to their sister, their kids, not one person ever asked me to sign a book over to their father. So you know my first question, I was like, wait a minute, slow down. I said, who in the world is your dad? He said, oh, my dad, his name is Howard Mintz. I said, man, your dad has to be an awesome dude. He said, man, I love my dad. I said, what does your dad do for a living? He said, my dad is a school teacher. I said, what? A school teacher? I said, man, I'm a teacher too. I said, man, so where does your dad teach? Remember, it's in Miami. He said, he teaches at Horace Mann Middle School, which is the worst middle school in Miami. This guy had gone to 26 funerals of middle school kids while he's taught at Horace Mann. I said, man, he teaches at Horace Mann. I said, man, that's one of the worst schools. I said, your dad white, isn't he? He said, yeah. I said, why is he teaching at Horace Mann? He said, man, he loves to. I said, what does he teach? He said, well, he actually doesn't teach a class. He's in charge of indoor suspension. So not only is he at the worst middle school in Miami, he's volunteered to work with the worst kids at that middle school. So, and I took out my card, and I said, Micah, now I only usually give this card to kids I think that need somebody to speak into their life. I said, but Micah, I'm giving you this card because you won't need any help from me. But man, if you got a dad like that, I want to know where you're going to end up in life. Will you please keep in contact with me just to let me know how you're doing? He said, sure. I give him my card. About two days later, I get a call on my phone. It's his dad calling me. He says, is this Joe Martin? I said, yes. He said, this is Howard Mintz. He said, you met my son and signed a book for me to him. I said, yeah. He said, my son told me that you grew up in Liberty City. Is that correct? I said, yes, sir, I sure did. He says, can I ask you a question? I said, sure. He said, how'd you get out? That's what he asked me. Like I broke out of prison or something. I said, what you mean how I get out? He said, no, man, how did you get out? And I told him about, going to college. He said, no, I'm not talking about that. He said, man, I'm serious. How'd you get out of this? And I broke down crying on that phone. And I gave him the story that most people never hear about how I grew up. And he said, what would it take to get you to come back to Miami to talk to the kids at my middle school and some other schools around here? I said, man, just an invitation. And he invited me to come down. Guys, I'm going to shorten this story up for you. He picks me up at the airport, and he puts me in. First of all, I meet him. He's about my height. I'm like, man, this dude's short. He's just like me, right? Now, so he's about my height. He meets me. He said, I'm Howard Mintz. I said, nice to meet you, Mr. Mintz. And he said, Joe, I know I want to take you to see my family, everything. Oh, by the way, he has 8 kids. 8, okay? He said, I told you I was going to take you to see my family, Joe. He said, but I want to make a stop first. He said, I want to make one stop before we go see my family. I said, sure. He's driving me from the airport back to Liberty City. I said, man, you live in Liberty City? He said, no, I don't live in Liberty City. I said, why are you driving through Liberty City? I said, man, it's getting dark. You don't want to be around here. Right? He said, no, Joe, I want to take you someplace. Now, this man doesn't know all my life story. He just knew about the transition getting out. He takes me to this crack house. I'm thinking, what in the world? Right? I said, do you know that's a crack house? You get right there? He said, yeah. And I'm thinking, my luggage is still in the back car. I'm thinking we're going to get jacked or something going to happen, right? And so he gets out. I said, where you going? He said, I'm getting out of the car. I said, man, do you know where you are? He said, yeah. But as soon as he gets out of the car, everybody knew who he was. Hey, Mr. Mintz, how you doing? Hey, how y'all doing? What y'all doing over there? Y'all break that up. I'm like, they know him? Everybody in that neighborhood knew him. And I said, Mr. Mintz, why are you bringing me to this crack house? And then he started crying. What's the way? He says, Joe, he says, I don't even know why I'm bringing you here, Joe, but something in my heart told me to show you this. I said, what? He says, see right here? I said, yeah. He says, that's the street my dad was murdered. I said, excuse me? He said, Joe, when I was 19 years old, they came and told us that my dad was murdered in Liberty City. Now, it wasn't the same man I saw. That's crazy, okay? It wasn't the same man. That'd be weird, wouldn't it? Okay? No. But he says, Joe, they told me that my dad was murdered here. And I said, Mr. Mintz, let me get this right. The people in my neighborhood murdered your father, but you dedicated your life to working in this community to save our kids? Are you kidding me? You would think this man will be bitter, will be angry. He's been to 26 funerals of middle school kids. He's been to every one of the funerals, and he said he's the only teacher that shows up. And I said, Mr. Mintz, why do you go to these funerals? He said, Joe, so they'll at least let them know that somebody's thinking about them and love their kid. I don't care how their kids were acting. And that man, I tell you, I spent about the next 4 or 5 days just hanging out with him. I met his family, his wife. And then when I had to speak at the University of Miami, I came back. I said, Mr. Mintz, I'm coming back in town. Would you have dinner with me? He said, sure, Joe. We went out to dinner, went to TGI Fridays, because I'm a big spender. So I took her to TGI Fridays.